Well, welcome. We would just like to welcome you all here this morning. This is an opportunity to come together to launch our Utah Civil and Compassionate Communities Initiative. In 2011, here in Utah, we launched the Utah Civility and Community Initiative. Had a wonderful experience. We've worked through schools and universities and in towns throughout the state. And about a year ago, we became aware of a wonderful global initiative called Compassionate Communities that had the same common denominator of the civic expression of the golden rule as civility, and civility ideally leads to compassion. And how can we live like this in our communities? So we're relaunching in a way as the Utah Civil and Compassionate Community Initiative. We're so grateful and honored that Lieutenant Governor Cox and Mayor Becker have agreed to be our co-chairs. We have representatives of our wonderful and diverse advisory board representing a lot of diversity in all sectors of Utah society standing behind us. And I'd like to turn the time over first to Lieutenant Governor Cox and then Mayor Becker to tell you a little bit about this initiative.
Thank you, John, and thanks to all of you who are here today, members of the press. We're so excited. I'm so excited to be here with Mayor Becker, my co-chair, and to announce the launch of the Utah Civil and Compassionate Communities organization. As we reach out to communities, as we reach out to citizens of the great state of Utah to talk about what it means to be civil and compassionate. Obviously, as politicians, we're in an arena where sometimes civility is not shown, and sometimes there is a lack of compassion. Some people have made careers on a lack of civility and compassion, and we're hoping to continue to change that dialogue here in the state of Utah. We truly believe that a civil world is built on a foundation of welcoming, inclusive, and caring communities, and we have an opportunity to change that. One of the things that we're very proud of here in the state of Utah is that we are a compassionate people, we are a civil people, and that shows in our volunteerism. It's no secret, we've talked before, that Utah leads the nation when it comes to volunteerism. We've been number one for the last 9 years. The average Utahn spends about 76 hours a year volunteering in their communities and in their neighborhoods and in their families. That's important because that number of 76 hours is more than double the national average of 32 hours a year. So we start from a very good place when it comes to being civil and compassionate. But I think it's important to note that civility really begins at home. When we're civil with our families, with our spouses, with our children, and those that we're around more often than not, that leads and bleeds into civil communities and civil workplaces as well. One of the things is, I talked to a youth group just last week, one of the things that's very helpful and one of the things that we encourage our youth to do and encourage all of the citizens of Utah to do is to remember to be grateful, to remember to be thankful, and to remember to serve others. There's some interesting research that's been done recently that shows that when you express gratitude and when you serve others, it improves your mental health. So I have a reminder. I encourage all of our youth as well to put reminders on their phone every morning, a reminder to serve someone. That can be very simple. It can be a smile, it can be a handshake, it can be helping a neighbor, and then at the end of the day, another reminder to remind me to thank someone. Send a text, make a phone call, remember to give thanks to someone who served me that day. I think if we can do those things, and we're going to be going out with many initiatives in our communities, helping to remind people of the importance of, again, being civil and compassionate. Now, I want to conclude with Governor Gary Herbert has issued a declaration for this month, and I'll go ahead and read that. Whereas Utah has a strong tradition of civility and compassion grounded in the Golden Rule. Whereas civility has been defined as the civic expression of the Golden Rule. Whereas, as stated in the Charter for Compassion, the principle of compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions, calling us always to treat all others as we wish to be treated ourselves. Whereas the Utah Civil and Compassionate Communities Initiative seeks to encourage all Utahns to be more welcoming, inclusive, civil, caring, and compassionate, and to act on those intentions. Whereas the Utah Civil and Compassionate Communities Initiative will be launched on October 7th, 2015 to promote growth and capacity in these areas in order to challenge us to move beyond our individual and collective comfort zones. And whereas we hope that through this initiative, we may become examples to one another in Utah as well as the nation and the world in civility and compassion. Now, therefore, I, Gary R. Herbert, Governor of the State of Utah, do hereby declare October 2015 as Utah Civil and Compassionate Communities Month. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Ralph Becker, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor Cox and John, as really a leader for us in this effort, as well as these folks behind me. As Lieutenant Governor Cox mentioned, we have people who are focused and attentive and dedicated to promoting and living around civility and compassion in their lives and in their worlds. I was honored to be past co-chair with Lieutenant Governor Bell on our civility initiative, and this is really the parallel effort, I think, around compassionate communities. I first learned of this effort from someone who's become a good friend of mine, Mayor Greg Fisher in Louisville, who launched an effort in his own community and then has enlisted cities all across the country, including Salt Lake City, in a Compassionate Communities initiative, and he'll be here as part of our efforts around the Parliament of Religions next week. Compassionate Communities became a movement when a noted religious scholar and thought leader, Karen Armstrong, received the TED Prize in 2008 to fulfill her wish for a charter for compassion, a universal declaration of support for the Golden Rule. The movement calls on communities throughout the world to treat others the way we would wish to be treated. Its charter document, quote, transcends religious, ideological, and national differences and is supported by leading thinkers from many traditions, end quote. All of us who live in the world know there is a need for compassion. And we know that Salt Lake City and communities throughout Utah have a strong tradition of civility and compassion grounded in the Golden Rule. With today's action, we are affirming the Charter for Compassion and initiating our journey for Salt Lake City to officially be designated as a compassionate city. In Salt Lake City, we're currently focusing on 4 core areas of compassion. First, building compassion through support for our homeless individuals and families, or as the angel Pamela Atkinson often says, for our homeless friends. Second, creating a welcoming, compassionate community and providing resources to help integrate refugees and new immigrants in Salt Lake City. Third, developing, and I'm pleased that Chelsea Eddy is here, we've established in our office now someone full-time working to welcome and include refugees and the incredibly difficult transition they have coming to our country. Third, developing and sustaining an environment of livability and compassion for older adults in Salt Lake City. And fourth, continuing efforts to build a compassionate community through resident volunteerism. All of these have been initiatives and efforts that we have added to components of city government and specifically within the mayor's office. We believe as our residents, individuals, families, and communities step up to engage in compassionate doing, we will all feel a sense of empowerment, cooperation, unity, and hope. Of course, compassion can be expressed at all levels, one-on-one, in families, in small neighborhoods, and in communities. We will work with community-based organizations, including our community councils, to push this effort forward. I invite other cities throughout the state to join us as we work to activate the Golden Rule and truly become civil and compassionate communities. Shortly after I came into office, I was invited by a friend I'd gotten to know to visit her. And she presented me with a framed document of the Golden Rule. And it was the Golden Rule in 15 or 20 different religions as expressed and different cultures as expressed. We know that is the heart, at the very heart, of how we can best treat each other and within our own hearts, treat each other well. I'm now pleased to have Dr. David Parker, a member of our Community's Advisory Council, to officiate a ribbon tying ceremony, symbolic of bringing people together as we strive to be compassionate and joining other cities across the state in a unified effort. We'll then be signing the Charter of Compassion. Thank you all. Dr. Parker?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Lieutenant Governor, Mayor, and members of this amazing, amazing advisory board. What I said was, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I said that in sign language, the third most used language in the United States. I'll do it again. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I say that because people talk about compassion a lot, but we sometimes forget to do it. This advisory board, along with the Lieutenant Governor and the Mayor, we are beginning to put action to becoming more and more civil. So we're going to tie a ribbon as a way of joining everyone together. In fact, if we all try this, take both hands, take our index fingers and hook them together. If we move them back and forth like this is cooperation in sign language. If we put it together like this, it's everyone joined together. So a picture, yes, is worth 1,000 words. We're all beginning to act in a way that's cooperative and joining together, and that's what the ribbon will now do. There's two ribbons, and I'm one person. How do we do this? We cooperate. We join together. We need another person on this side to pick up the ribbon. Who might that be? The mayor can do it, and the lieutenant governor can do that.
Let's have everybody join us, maybe.
Good job.
My years of Boy Scout training. And this will not come apart, ever.